What begins as just a joke or an attempt to create a funny video for social media almost always ends in public embarrassment. The British Royal Guard is known for its rigid posture, extreme discipline, and clear rules: do not touch, do not provoke, and do not interfere. Even so, some tourists and onlookers insist on crossing the line and end up paying the price. That is exactly what we are going to see here today. A clueless woman decided to provoke a royal guard next to his post with a little dance while her friend recorded. She starts dancing beside the guard, who shows no reaction at first. With a bit of hesitation, she continues dancing until the guard becomes irritated, stomps his foot on the ground, grabs his rifle, and begins marching away from the woman. She is obviously startled by the guard's attitude after all. He even grabs his rifle. At the moment he makes the entire movement, she even stops dancing, becomes very embarrassed, and leaves the area, probably afraid of a harsher reaction from the guard, who at first simply moved away. The royal guards need to march along a specific path. Although the route has no physical markings on the ground, the soldiers are trained so rigorously that they know exactly where and how they must move during their marches and ceremonies. The route is determined by traditions, protocols, and ceremony planning, and it is constantly supervised by officers. Even if the path is blocked by people, they cannot divert or stop. That is how an unaware tourist and photographer failed to notice the approaching guards, stood in the way, and ended up being literally run over. Shortly afterward, he frees himself and manages to get out of the way, while the guards continue on their path as if nothing had happened. Another tourist who also wanted to joke around in front of a royal guard at the castle in England ended up paying the price and embarrassing himself in front of everyone. He approaches the guard while another person records everything. When he gets right in front of the guard, he starts dancing, fooling around, and making sudden movements to draw attention. The guard is visibly annoyed, tries to warn the tourist who does not stop, and ends up punching the tourist in the face. As we can see, he falls to the ground and remains there, while the guard picks up his hat again, places it on his head, and returns to his previous posture. Other tourists nearby are shocked and keep filming everything. A British royal guard went viral on social media after shouting and frightening a fan of the royal family in front of Buckingham Palace in England. The soldier raised his voice after the tourist approached and grabbed the reins of the horse he was riding. In the footage, the guard, completely upset, tells her to step away from the animal and not touch the reins. She, of course, is frightened and immediately moves away. Other tourists nearby are also startled, and one of them manages to record the moment.
Step back with the lifeguard! Not touch the reins!
On the internet, many users sided with the guard, saying that he acted unnecessarily. Others, including people who had already visited the location, said there are plenty of warning signs telling visitors not to approach either the guards or the animals, and even so, she approached, which is why she ended up paying the price. Once again, a woman visiting the palace decided to approach one of the royal guards on horseback and, after touching the animal's reins, received a serious warning. As she approached for a photo, she immediately touched the reins, which bothered the horse, and the guard instantly shouted for her to move away and not touch the animal. At first, she is startled and even steps back, but shortly after, showing complete lack of awareness, she returns and approaches the horse again, which stresses the guard even more. He scolds her again, and she finally leaves. Apparently, she thought the first scolding was a joke or something like that. After all, she returns smiling and is warned again, this time becoming serious and moving away. A man, already of a certain age, also thought it would be funny or cool to approach a royal guard and do a little dance while a friend recorded, but it did not go well. In the video recorded by his friend, we see him stepping in front of the camera, approaching two guards near the palace, and then starting a little dance right between them. Right away, one of the guards notices the situation, looks annoyed, and warns the man, who stops dancing and moves away, fearing the worst. After all, the guards there are authorities.
Oh! Get yourself away! You can't be done that you're done there, no! Do it one!
What was meant to be a humorous moment ended up becoming something embarrassing, where he, even at his age, needed to be warned about something very obvious. A tourist who also wanted that classic photo next to a royal guard positioned at one of the castle entrances ended up getting too close, which was not a good choice. To take the photo next to the guard standing at his post, she approached while a friend prepared the camera. However, as she moved closer, she did not realize she was too close and ended up touching the guard. He did not like the contact and quickly pushed the woman away with his arm. She is clearly very startled by the action since she had not noticed she was touching the guard, who in turn could not allow anyone to interfere with him and therefore had to push her away. Although it is rare, when a tourist invades a soldier's personal space more intensely, he may react more forcefully. In the video, a young man clearly disrespected a royal guard. He imitated the soldier's pose, stood beside him, and even touched him. Then he marched in a childish way, like a toy robot. When the man turned his back thinking he was doing great and that his actions had been filmed, the soldier reacted lightly, striking the tourist near the ear with one hand, if you know what I mean. However, the most common response is for royal guards to use verbal commands to warn tourists to move away and avoid inappropriate interactions. They are trained to maintain a serious and professional posture, even when faced with provocative behavior. When a soldier engages in physical confrontation with a tourist, he may be subjected to an internal investigation. If the situation is considered serious, punishments may include warnings, suspension, or even dismissal from service. Therefore, soldiers have clear rules of conduct and must act with respect, even when dealing with inappropriate tourist behavior. A royal guard, noticing a certain, let us say, crowd near his post, decided to act. Many tourists were gathering close to where he was standing, even starting to cross the containment barrier that existed there. Because of this, he began marching toward the tourists and called out, asking everyone to move back. A police officer who was helping with security immediately acted as well and followed the guard's orders, pushing the tourists away. Many times, police officers are also positioned around the palace, helping maintain security and order, and that is why, in the footage, we can see the officer restoring order among the tourists. A very curious and unusual scene was caused by a tourist who approached the horse of a royal guard and offered it a drink. The footage shows the young man approaching the horse with the royal guard mounted on it and, after petting the animal, offering it a drink he was drinking through a straw. When the guard notices the situation, he pulls the reins, causing the horse to rise and move toward the young man, who feels intimidated, realizes he did something inappropriate, and steps away. Because he was young, many people mentioned possible immaturity regarding the situation, which is why he did what he did. Some tourists decided to joke and imitate the movements of a royal guard right in front of him and ended up paying the price. In a video recorded by another tourist who was also at the location, we see the group of friends gathered, laughing and imitating the guard, who watched from a distance, visibly annoyed. After some time, a police officer passing by noticed the situation and, considering it completely disrespectful, approached the tourists and expelled them from the area for their behavior. They certainly imagined they would leave without consequences, but the police officer showed that he would restore order, and he did exactly that. As mentioned before, the warnings not to approach guards mounted on horses exist precisely to prevent incidents with the animal, which can bite or injure a tourist. That is exactly what happened to a tourist who ignored this safety distance. She approached the horse that the royal guard was riding and stayed there. After a few moments, the animal appeared visibly irritated, but even so, the woman did not move away. Then the horse simply grabbed her hair with its mouth. Frightened, she moved away, and the horse only let go when the guard pulled the reins and ordered it to release her. Despite the bite, there were no injuries, but the woman was visibly shaken. Nearby tourists only watched the situation, trying to comfort the woman afterward. The royal guard, on the other hand, made that typical expression of someone who already knew something like this could happen. But since the woman was stubborn, she ended up facing the consequences. An Indian tourist was visiting the palace surroundings with his wife when, as is common with tourists, he decided to approach a royal guard to take a photo and did not receive a good reaction. His wife approached from one side and he from the other, but he did not limit himself to just standing close. He hugged the guard, which is not allowed. Because of that, the guard pushed him away with his arm to make him step back. When pushed, he is startled, laughs, and does not quite understand, but he respects it and keeps his distance. People suggested that he might not have known about the rule against touching guards, which is why he was surprised and confused by the reaction. In this specific case, the marching soldier turned, looked at a woman standing in his way and smiling, and simply bumped into her since she did not move out of the path. When she is bumped, she is startled and quickly moves away. Therefore, it is best not to stand in front of a royal guard. If you are there and notice a guard approaching, the safest option is to step aside. By disregarding the expected behavior and not moving, she ignored the seriousness of the traditions and protocols that govern the ceremonies and the soldiers' duties, which must be followed without exception. Some people decided to organize a protest during a Royal Guard march in London, and even by stepping in front of the parade, were simply ignored by the guards. Footage of the parade performed by the Royal Guard and local authorities shows a group that invaded the area, jumped the safety barrier with signs, and tried to stop the procession, but without success. The guards continued along their route, ignoring the protesters, who were literally run over by the parade and later removed by the police. In the video, it is also possible to see that the police, who were assisting with parade security, had to act to contain the protesters, and did so by chasing them and forcibly removing everyone from the area before anyone got hurt. A woman approached, posed beside the soldier, and was scolded for not respecting his personal space. Her facial expression when reprimanded was priceless. She is startled by the shout and, obviously embarrassed, moves away. As mentioned before, for many tourists, the Royal Guards in London are a very popular tourist attraction. People see them as part of the charm and history of the British monarchy, but forget that they are authorities who must follow a series of rules to ensure the safety of the area.
Do not touch the King's lifeguard!
It is very important to understand that the presence of the Royal Guards is not just aesthetic. They have existed since the 16th century, originating from European military history. Their main function is to protect the royal family and ensure the safety of important locations, such as Buckingham Palace, which is why they must remain serious. During a shift change between guards, the public surrounded a royal guard mounted on a horse, who became irritated by the situation and needed to raise his voice. The crowd was noisy and inattentive, making the professional's job difficult. When the bell rang, indicating it was time for the guard to leave his post, people remained in the same place and even walked in front of the horse, blocking the soldier's path. This not only hindered his movement but also posed a safety risk for everyone, since the horse could become agitated by the unexpected crowd movement. Some tourists, startled by the shout, quickly moved backward, obeying the order. This ensured that the soldier could continue on his way without obstacles. Do not forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.